Rappers and music producers. It's Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com, and I'm doing today what you have asked me to do for quite some time. I'm doing another book suggestion, except this one has a theme. These are 7 books that are meant to help you in your mental health. Let's talk about it. Rappers and music producers, I have done lists in the past. I did one massive video that you can check up here, and you see that a lot of the books that I have are books that many entrepreneurs talk about. And even when you see other people do videos like this, like suggestions for rappers and producers, you always see suggestions that are really recycling that same exact list. So what I want to do today, I want to have some books that focus on the biggest issues that I see in the rapper and producer community. Now, for the last few years, I've been doing rapper and producer consultations. So as you can imagine, I've heard a lot of the same issues repeated. And most times, I believe that rappers and producers don't really believe that they have the answers in them. And I always tell them the point of my consultations is not to give you all the answers. It's for me to ask you the right questions because I've been there before. So when I'm asking you the right questions, you're leading yourself to the answer, therefore embedded it in you even stronger. Book number 1, for the rappers and producers who have a fear of failure, John C. Maxwell made an amazing book called Failing Forward. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in on that. John C. Maxwell, Failing Forward. Now, let me tell you why this book is so important. For me, my relationship with failure was me trying to avoid it at one point in time, because nobody likes the feeling of feeling like a failure. Nobody likes the feeling of not being able to accomplish something. Nobody likes the feeling of people seeing you fail on a regular basis. And because of that, many people have a lot of untapped potential. This book redefines the way that you look at failure to the point when you end this book, you're going to go looking for failures, because you're going to realize that what separates you from multimillionaires, people who are massively successful, and not just multimillionaires, but people who are massively successful in life, is the fact that they failed more than you. They've took more risk than you have took. So I highly suggest this book, especially if failure is messing with you mentally. For rappers and producers, and more so music producers who have an issue expressing themselves or communicating with other people, especially your clients and your customers, How to Talk to Anyone, Anytime by Larry King. Now, this book was actually a sleeper for me. I didn't know that it was going to be as good as it was, but I needed it at a time where I was talking to a lot more customers on the phone. I was having to do a lot more face-to-face interaction at shows as I'm selling merchandise. And this book was very important in helping me develop really the skills that it requires to have just small talk. Now, for those of you that are like super socialites, you're probably like, well, who needs help learning how to do small talk? A lot of people. That's why sometimes I get these awkward comments in my YouTube, because I think some people just don't know what to say sometimes. Or when I meet them, they say crazy things. Like, I remember at a show one time, this guy, I was in the restroom and he just pulled up to the stall right next to me and said, "Curtis King, oh, that's crazy." And I'm like, yeah, we should probably finish this and start the conversation outside. This is awkward. But that's the thing about it. That's not the place to create small talk. This book will basically give you the skills to learn the secrets of good communication. And I mean, who better than somebody who's been talking for the last, gazillion years than Larry King? The next book that I suggest to you for your mental health rappers and producers is a book called Unplug by Suze Yalof Schwartz. I hope I pronounced that right. She is the founder and CEO of Unplug Meditation Studio, and it's also in collaboration with Deborah Goldstein. This is a simple guide to meditation for busy skeptics and modern soul seekers. Let's zoom in on that. And let me tell you why I want to zoom in. If you look at this, you see it's like a wire, like a outlet wire in the form of somebody meditating. You guys know there's many videos where I speak about the importance of meditation in my life. And I know most of us complain about meditation because we say things like, how do I meditate? Even those of you that watch the decap video were like, what is the first step and what is the purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to be thinking about something? Do I need to be somewhere where it's silent, where it's never silent where I'm at? What do I do? How do I do it? This book helps you do that by really giving you some basic skill sets that are going to guide you along and hopefully make meditation less of a chore and more of a necessity for you. For me, my days would not be the same without meditation. I have so much focus, so much more patience. I take that focus and patience to the gym. I get energy. I take the focus, patience, and energy into making beats or into making music. It's an unrivaled feeling. The next book I'm going to suggest to you rappers and producers for your mental health is a book called Thick Skinned by Claude Hamilton. This book is very important. This book came to me at a time where I was receiving massive negative feedback from people who were mad that I made the video about no longer using a pirated version of FL Studio. They were mad at me for coming out, and I thought all I did was come and tell the truth. I made a video voluntarily, not expecting so much backlash from, I guess, the hackers of the world and folks who just don't believe in paying for anything that they like to do. And because of that, it got me in a situation where I wanted to respond to people. I wanted to just shoot back at everything they were shooting at me because they were talking about everything. They were talking about me. They were talking about my family. They were talking about my facial hair, my face, my voice, everything. And that wasn't gonna fly with me. So this book came at a really important time, and you gotta get this online. I haven't seen this in any Barnes & Noble. You gotta get this online. But this book explains to you why caring too much about what other people think and say is holding you back and what to do about it. This book actually gives you step-by-step instructions on how to really re-examine the feedback that you're getting, positive or negative. So for those of you that are very sensitive and you really just triggered on a regular basis, please get your hands on this book and start to understand the people who are able to have thick skin. Folks are just not born with that. That has to be developed over time. The next book I'm going to suggest to you for your mental health, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Mark Manson, thank you for making this book, because especially in this hypersensitive generation that we're living in, we need more books that slap us over the face so that we stop caring so much about everything and feeling entitled to care about everything. He says, in this generation-defining self-help guide, a superstar blogger shows us that the key to being happier is to stop trying to be positive all the time and instead become better at handling adversity. It may be a surprise to you, since I'm probably one of the most positive rappers and producers that you know, that I would even pick up a book like this, but this book spoke to me because I was under the sort of impression that positivity was the absence of negativity, and that's simply not true. You need both. There is no positivity without negativity. You don't view something as positive without having something that is an opposite of that as negativity. You know, the book is not about not caring about nothing. It's about reserving the amount of F's you have and really putting it towards directions that really count. Everything does not deserve that. The next book I'm going to suggest to you rappers and producers is a book called Unoffendable by Brant Hansen. Folks who are not religious, you may feel like, oh, I don't want to get into a book like this as a Christian author, but don't let that deter you. This Christian author is one that is a bit edgy, and he talks about topics that really circulate around why you don't even have the right to be offended. I really love this book personally because me being someone that believes in God, me being somebody that often wonders how the content that I do and the work that I do pulls me off of my path or sets me even more on my path. We get angry and offended by so many things in this generation. At one moment, folks were offended by the Starbucks cups because they were too Christmassy. And then the next second, people are offended by Dave Chappelle and his stand-up comedy. Like, this wasn't the same guy that played R. Kelly and was gooping butter everywhere, doo-doo butter or whatever he called it, all over the walls. Like, you act like that's not the same person. But in this world where we're so offended, this book really shows you from a biblical sense why we don't even have the right to be angry. And the last book that I'm going to suggest, as if you couldn't get enough of these F-bombs, Unfuck Yourself by Gary John Bishop. Now, I got my bookmark in here because I'm still digging into it. I'm going backwards and reading pages over again. But this book right here is a gem because it really breaks down how a lot of times we get in the way of our own success, especially as rappers and producers. There's so many times that we let thoughts and visions of what could happen stop us from actually getting things done. Our fear of the future and our fear of the unknown make us make decisions that actually show us that we have a lack of faith in our future, in our craft, and in ourselves. This book helps realign you to get back on path. To break it down, as Gary John Bishop said, what's standing in the way of you living your best life? Most people would reference things like relationships with other people, money, their job, or unfortunate circumstances. None of these explanations make any difference. Through decades of working with people as a personal development coach, Gary John Bishop has discovered that the barrier is one thing only: you. If you're easily offended, stop reading now. This isn't the book for you. And this is why I think that rappers and producers will get a hell of a kick out of this book, because he does use some choice language, but he speaks to you in a way that's like, yo, cut it. One thing that I love about this book is that he speaks about when we make commitments. Like for me, I've been going back to the gym. I've been back in the gym every single day. I missed only one day since I made the commitment after reading this book. And he says that we get in the gym when we say, I'm going to go in the gym. I'm going to go ham. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to do what I'm doing. I'm going to make 50 beats this month. I'm going to go crazy. We do all of this talking and then we don't perform. And he said, how about if you switch around the wording, since language has power? What if you switched around the wording? What if you said, I am willing and I am unwilling to do, insert whatever you're trying to do, and then proceed forward. Some people are more driven by I am willing. Some people are more driven by I am unwilling. For me, I've been back in the gym and I said, I am unwilling to have an unhealthy body. And I'm telling you, that's been pushing me when I'm in the gym, when I get tired, when I'm on that last lap and I'm like, oh man, I want to do this. I am unwilling to have an unhealthy body. Why is that important? Because I want to be able to play catch with my son when he's in his teenage years. I want to be able to be active with my wife, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's important that I treat my health like it is my wealth. So by me saying I am unwilling to have an unhealthy body, that has helped me. For you, it may be I am willing to go to the gym every day. Simply saying that shift, as minor as it sounds, can change everything. So rappers and music producers, those were 7 books that I highly suggest to you. And did you think you were just gonna walk away without having one more suggestion? The obvious one? Come on now. Come on now. The Prosperous Hip Hop Producers by your man's Curtis King. Man, that didn't come out so smooth. The Prosperous Hip Hop Producer by Curtis King. That's a hardback, boy. That book is, of course, so important to me because it documents my journey from really making beats in my grandmother's patio to now running the 6-figure business that is CurtisKingBeats.com, to doing my YouTube channel. It gives you all of the steps that I took to get to where I'm at. If you're looking for a highly technical book that gives you do this, do that, that's not this book. This book really speaks to more so the mental health of music producers and making sure that you know what you're going through, you're not alone in. And no, the purpose of this video wasn't for a big ad on this, but I gotta make sure I plug my book. Why? Because I made a damn book. I wrote a book and I'm damn proud of that. But anyways, if you guys have more book suggestions for mental health, specifically for rappers and producers, please leave those in the comments below. I need to see those. I like to read books about this topic. I think that it's something that is being addressed head on and a lot more people are paying more attention to mental health, and I think that's a good thing. I think that we're gonna all grow from that. But we gotta continue to feed each other as a community, and we'll only grow after doing that. So those are my 7 suggestions for rappers and producers who are looking to improve their mental health. Once again, this is Curtis King and CurtisKingBeats.com. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel below, Curtis King and CurtisKingBeats.com.